I'm Wendy Nelson, and in this video, I want to talk about how to read longer words. A lot of struggling readers tend to freeze up when they see longer words on the page. Maybe they're feeling confident at this point about one-syllable words, even two-syllable words are okay, but when it gets to be a three-syllable word or longer, they're not really sure how to approach that. This is a really common problem. But the good news is that any word can be broken down into single syllables. And no matter how long it is, you just have to go one syllable at a time and you can read the word, you can figure it out. So we're going to take a look at an example today, and I'm going to walk you through the process of exactly how we do this with longer words. Some of the terminology that I'm using might be unfamiliar to you. I'm going to be referring to different syllable types. And if you don't know those, English is made up of 6 different types of syllables. And I will be posting some videos that explain those different types. So go ahead and check out those videos if you're not sure exactly what I'm talking about. But here is a word. Let me go ahead and get it up on the screen here. So here's a word that a struggling reader might struggle with. You can probably figure this word out, no problem. You've probably seen it lots of times. You know exactly how to read it. But a struggling reader might be encountering this word for the very first time. And they can see that it's a longer word and they won't know what to do with it. So anytime a struggling reader gets to this position, they see a longer word, they don't know what it is, the very first thing to do is look for the vowels. And so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to start here at the beginning. Okay, G, that's a consonant. E, that's a vowel. I'm going to underline it. Next letter, N, that's a consonant. E, okay, here's another vowel. Great. R is a consonant. A is a vowel. And then we've got L, a consonant at the end. Okay, great. We've got 3 vowels, which means we're probably dealing with a 3-syllable word. Now, something to notice here with this E in the middle is it has an R after it. And that tells me that this is going to be what we call an R-controlled syllable. And since that is the case, I'm going to go ahead and underline the R here as well, because I want to keep this ER together, because I know that this is an R-controlled syllable. Okay? And what that also tells me is that this E is not a silent E. It's not part of a vowel consonant E syllable, which would be the other option here with that E. Okay, so I've got my three vowels underlined, my vowel plus R there. Okay, I know I'm definitely dealing with a 3-syllable word here. So now I need to divide this word between the vowels, because every syllable has to have a vowel in it. So let's start with the first and the second vowel. We need to divide between these 2 vowels. And we have 1 consonant in between the 2 vowels. Okay, now it gets a little bit tricky because I can't just split that vowel in half. It can't be part of both syllables. It has to be either part of the first syllable or part of the second syllable. And if I only have 1 consonant, I have to make a decision. Am I going to divide this word before or after that consonant? And you won't always know. A struggling reader will not always know which one to do. So I usually just start by dividing after the consonant. If I see 1 consonant between 2 vowels, I'm going to take a guess and I'm going to divide after that consonant. So I'm just going to put a line here. Now, I don't know at this point if that is the correct thing to do. And if it's not, I can change it later. But this is my starting point. Okay, so now I've divided the first syllable from the rest of the word. Now I'm going to go over here. I need to divide between the E and the A, between these 2 vowels. Well, I already know that this R has to stay with the E because that's an R-controlled syllable. So that makes this one super easy. All I have to do is divide after that R. Boom. So there we have 1, 2, 3 syllables. Okay, so now I'm not reading a 3-syllable word anymore. I am reading 3 single syllables. I just made this word easier to read because a single syllable is a whole lot easier than looking at 3 syllables as a whole. So let's just look at our first syllable. So here, because I've divided after this consonant, that makes this what we call a closed syllable. And if you know about syllables, you know that a closed syllable usually has a short vowel. So this E here, because it's a closed syllable, it's going to make its short sound. The sound that it's going to make is eh. That's the short vowel sound for E. Eh. All right, something else that I know about the vowel E is that it is a watch-out vowel. And that tells me something about this first consonant, this G, because a watch-out vowel softens the letter G. So instead of G, the sound that we get here is going to be J. So I know the 3 sounds that are in this single syllable are going to be J, E, N, Jen. All right, I've just read 1 syllable of this 3-syllable word. I know this first syllable is probably going to be Jen. Not probably, it has to be. Well, unless we decide that this isn't a closed syllable. What we'll deal with that in a moment. Okay, so we've assumed this first syllable is closed and the sound it's going to make is Jen. Now we're going to look at this ER here. Okay, ER, R-controlled syllable, the sound that it gives us is almost 100% of the time. This syllable has to be because it's ER. And then we're going to look at the third syllable here. Okay, so we have a syllable, another one ending with a consonant, which makes it closed. So that means this vowel is going to be short. The short sound for that vowel is ah. So this is going to be ow, ow. Okay, so now I have 3 single syllables. I want to put them together. General. 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 Well, that doesn't sound like any word that I know. So now we're going to have to think about this a little bit more. Is it possible that one of these vowels might be lazy? And it is very possible because we're looking at a longer word here. Any word that has more than 1 syllable, there's a really good chance that at least one of the vowels is going to be lazy. It's going to make that sound that we call schwa. Schwa is just a fancy name for the lazy vowel sound So let's see if we can figure out which of these vowels could be a lazy vowel. Well, this ER, that's not going to be a lazy vowel because that's got to be That's an R-controlled syllable. We know the sound that we're going to get there. We can't make that one lazy. This first syllable, well, this is a watch-out vowel that's softening the G to a J. So that can't be a lazy vowel either. That E has a job that it's doing, softening up that G. So this A over here, this could be a lazy vowel. This could be So that would be general. General. Hey, I know that word. I just figured out how to read it by dividing my 3-syllable word into 3 single syllables. And that is how we figure out how to read longer words. That's the process. Always start by finding the vowels and then divide the word between the vowels and use your knowledge of syllable types to help you figure it out. Okay? I realize that this process does take some time, especially for struggling readers when they're just starting out with these longer words. But the more they practice, the better they're going to get and the faster that they're going to be with this. The key takeaway when dealing with longer words is start with the vowels. Find your vowels, underline your vowels, and then think about the syllable types and divide up between those vowels in order to figure out the word. All right, I hope that this was helpful. And until next time, happy reading.